Welcome back to La Chica TV. I'm Allie, your host, and this is my friend Taylor.
Hello! Konnichiwa, minasan.
Yes, whatever she said.
I said hello, everyone.
Oh, okay. Yes, so we are very excited to eat this because I am famished.
Yeah, she was
am.
like about to pass out in the kitchen. It was really funny watching.
I had to take out my bag of hot Cheetos
so I to sustain her.
So we are going to also be sharing some scary stories.
And weird stories, just personal, all these stories.
Yeah, just kind of our life stories. I don't really have an interesting life, so.
Yeah, we're both boring and basic.
But I know Taylor has some really like scary stories that she has told me before, and we wanted to share this with you because she's whack.
Because we hate everyone. So we want you to have nightmares.
No, I'm just kidding. That's not.
Because I'm whack, is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Because I'm wiggity whack.
Alright, on that note, we will begin our mukbang. I've watched so many and I never know how. Mukbang.
No, mukbang.
Mukbang.
I think. I don't know. I only know Japanese. It's a Korean word. So mukbang is actually, let's explain what it is.
Mukbang.
So a mukbang is a Korean eating show, and it got really popular in Korea and then really popular in like Western cultures as well, which is, you know, like our cultures. Western cultures. And it's pretty much, some mukbangs will be like ASMRs, which I think is gross because I don't like mouth sounds. But it's really bad because sometimes like the ASMR mukbangs, they're eating such good food and I'm like, I just want to mute it and like just watch it. I just don't want to do it. And it's a weird fascination that people have of watching others eat.
Yes, it's weird.
We're gonna be doing like a normal, like what we think a good mukbang would be, which is where we're eating and talking.
Yeah, so we are going to be eating yakisoba.
Yakisoba. Tamagoyaki.
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 Rice.
Gohan.
Oh.
Gohan. Gohan. And
Gohan.
Well, I guess gohan actually means meal, so.
Gohan, and I know this one, nori.
Nori! And it's wasabi flavored, so it's gonna be a little spicy.
Great.
Which,
I love spicy.
Weird thing, I like spicy stuff, but I never liked wasabi. And I lived in Japan.
So why did you buy these then?
Because there was no sesame flavored. And these are okay, I can eat these, but like just straight wasabi, like if you are eating sushi and you know you can get that dollop of wasabi on the side, I just don't eat it. It's too gross.
So they're supposed to be super hot, apparently.
They're not.
We will be the judges of that.
If I can eat them, everyone can eat them.
Now we're gonna start eating because this is getting cold.
Yeah. Ohashi.
Okay, I don't know if it's disrespectful to do this, so I'm sorry if you're Japanese.
So, I learned in Japan that there is, I don't know what I'm doing, that there is, everyone has their own style of holding chopsticks. She's actually holding it how most people hold it, between the two fingers, like that. And I actually, for some reason, as growing up, I learned to put the middle finger on top. And it actually helped a lot because if there was something really heavy I wanted to pick up, I had both the strength of my middle and index finger. So I would just like pick up this whole plate. I can't do that because it's actually really heavy. It's not enough. It's not enough! Anyway, but yeah, so this is how most people hold it, but I had one of my friends tell me that holding a chopstick is like holding a pencil. Everyone has their same, like has different ways of doing it, so there's no wrong way as long as you can pick up the food. But that's usually the normal way. Yeah! So we're gonna eat. Go! I'll let you go first because you're dying.
Okay, on that note, Taylor, begin your stories.
I was really into the TV show Ghost Hunters. Did you ever watch that show? Oh my gosh, I was so into it. Oh look, real quick, I'll show you how to eat this. You put one on like this, and then you put chopsticks on either side, and pick up some rice. Mmm. Oh! That hit you. Oh my gosh, that hit me hard. It's not spicy.
Let's see if I can do it.
Yeah, long ways. And then pick it up. It's okay if it breaks a little bit. Perfect. Put the whole thing in your mouth. Yay. Okay, so I really liked Ghost Hunters. I was really into paranormal stuff. You good, fam? I told you it hits you hard.
Not spicy.
Fine, I feel nothing. But I was like super into paranormal stuff, and I would always be like, oh my gosh, I want to talk to a ghost. I want to see a ghost. And I would always like go into my basement. Like, I had no fear as a child. I would go into my basement and be like, is there anyone here? If anyone's here, please show me a sign, make a noise or something. And of course, it would start like like rattling or something because, you know, it's the Pipe's old house. And I'd be like, it's a ghost. I'd be like, I made contact, you know, or something like that. But it really wasn't. And then one of my friends, I was in like the emo group because I had no friends growing up and they didn't have any friends, and they accepted me with open arms. Strange open arms, but open arms nonetheless. And pretty much one of my friends was like, hey, I know you were into all that ghost stuff. Have you ever tried doing a Ouija board? I was like, what's a Ouija board? I've kind of heard of it, but I've like never like done it. And so we like did it one day. It broke. It's okay. And so we did it one day. I thought it was creepy, but I also thought it was really cool because, like, you know, you would just be like talking to some dead person. You know, I thought it was interesting. I thought it was cool because, like, and on the board at the top, a normal Ouija board up the top, it says Ouija, and then it'll have like a sun and a moon on either side, and then it'll say yes, no, and it'll have the numbers, the alphabet, and then goodbye at the bottom. And usually you start it by holding the planchette. You never do it alone because it's really, really dangerous to do it alone. But
Why?
It was just like, because you can get like possessed or attacked or something. Because when you, the thing that this is like, I'm now that I'm older, I was a really stupid person like for trying this. I regret it so much. Like you have no idea how much I just wish I would have never like tried anything like that. But when you play a Ouija board or any kind of game where you're trying to contact the spirits, like any kind of spirit, you are opening yourself and opening a gateway
to Satan.
For pretty much, but like for them to come through. So you're pretty much just like inviting negativity and bad spirits to come and do whatever just so you can have a sign that they're real, even though that you shouldn't need a sign for that. But I mean, I was like, well, I can do this. I'm so strong individual. I got Jeebus. You know, it's fine. You good? What's wrong?
I keep choking on the food.
Chew your food. Oh my gosh. I'm glad I know how to do the Heimlich and sort of CPR. Yeah, always stay hydrated, kitties.
I was really hungry.
Well,
let's see how much I can eat.
Challenge accepted. Anyway, so we did it the first time. I thought it was scary. It was moving. I actually couldn't tell if it was him that was moving it or not. And it was just like weird. And, you know, I didn't really know what to do. So we kept doing that every now and then. Like after school, we'd go hang out, like in like the
your regular hangout thing to do.
Yeah, you know, go behind the school and like somewhere and just start
summoning demons.
Summoning demons. Yep. Hey demons, it's me. Yo boy. Shout out to BuzzFeed Unsolved. Holy crap, BuzzFeed Unsolved is really funny. You should watch it.
It's my favorite.
I love Shane. Well,
Shaniac struggling.
Watch, look.
Wait, I got it.
You skewered it. Oh. On either side, I'll probably break it too. Now let me show you. Push down and pull up.
I don't know how much more I can go on.
Eating?
Yeah.
Are you serious? You can do it. I believe in you. That's why you shouldn't have had those hot Cheetos. You know how
I know. I thought about it. I was like,
but we would do that, and then one day I was getting like more into it and doing more research about it, so I was doing it with my friend. I introduced her to it.
What?
And I said, hey, I have a really cool ghost game, a way to talk to like dead people. And she's like, oh cool. So we tried it, and she was like my best friend at the time, so we knew a lot about each other, but we would start asking questions, be like, okay, I need you to think of something that like I wouldn't know, and ask this spirit and see if he knows it, see if it knows it, you know? And we would do that, and it would like, every now and then it would answer correctly and freak us out, you know? So we're like, okay, that's kind of weird. And then it finally got to a point where I was with that same friend, and this is the moment when I stopped. So a lot of things had happened up to that point that were like scary and spooky, like outside of the board, like we'd hear footsteps, or
like after you, like when you were playing the game,
like the more we started playing, and it was just weird because like I could like almost immediately sense when something bad was happening, like if like if I was a dog, then my hackles would stand up, sort of thing. Like I'd get like all the hair on the back of my neck would stand up, and it'd be really scary. Do you need help?
No, but
do you need
just continue telling me your story. I will figure this out.
I know I want to watch this happen. It's just so. There you go. There you go. There you go. I got it. That's it. Okay, now hurry before it drops. But okay, so last time you were at my great grandma's house. I'm sorry, Gigi. She's already gone on to the next life, into the spirit world. Wait, why am I just playing with this? I'm gonna get more food. But excuse me, that was a gross food. I'm sorry, dude. So we were at her house and we were like trying to talk to someone, and I can't remember what his name was. I think he just called himself like ZB or something like that, which I later found out that don't ever play this game, kids. I don't care how interested you are in the paranormal, like Ouija board is not something you should play with, but apparently if there's no name and it's just initials, that usually means it's a demon of some kind. I almost dropped that down my shirt. You need? Why are you not chewing your food?
I am. The rice is just so sticky.
You chew it.
I was chewing it.
Oh my gosh, you're so weird. Anyway, so yeah, so we were doing it and we were talking to ZB, and we were like, I started being kind of ballsy and being like, hey, I started getting some courage, being like, hey, you're not really here. Nothing's really happened. You have no power. You know, I was antagonizing it. You're not, when you're dealing with spirits.
People die.
Yeah, when you're dealing with spirits, you're not supposed to piss them off. Like, and so I was doing, and then my friend started joining in, because he was like, oh, because it kept saying like, we're like, can you give us a sign? And it was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, can you make the light turn off? And it was like, no. And we were like, can you knock on something? And it said, no. And we were just like, are you even real? Like, you're obviously not a real thing. You're not a real threat. You're just weak, blah, blah. You know, we were just like, it was really bad. And so, what ended up happening is after a while, I started feeling my leg, like, started hurting, like, pretty bad. Like, not like bad, but it almost just felt like I, like, hit something, like if I ran into the corner of something. Go put this on more on the outside. Look, when I do it, see how far out I go? I don't go like this. Go all the way out to the edges and then pick it up. Back to the story. Sorry, this was just really fun to watch. That's okay, it works. It works, you're getting your hair in it. Oh. So, after egging this demon on, egging the demon.
So funny.
Anyway, all of a sudden my leg started hurting, and it was weird because we were just sitting there and we were doing nothing.
It's the seaweed. It's so dry.
Take a drink of your water right now. I'm not getting in the middle of the video to do the Heimlich on you. Are you actually choking? Are you okay?
Continue the story, please.
So, I told my friend that my leg was hurting and it felt weird, and she was like, okay, just stand up, like maybe your arm, like your leg is just falling asleep. And so I was like, well, this is like not like a falling asleep sensation, it's like I just kicked something or someone just kicked me sensation. And so, but then I felt the pain like start moving up my leg. So it like started at the ankle and then it kept like going up further and further, and I was like, what the heck is happening? And my friend was like, that's so weird, like is it like a throbbing pain? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, okay, I'm feeling the same thing on my leg and I don't know what's wrong. We're both wearing long pants, so I pulled my pant leg up and I saw that it was a bruise, and there was multiple bruises on my leg. And as I looked closer, I realized they were in the shape of like what would be human teeth marks.
No.
Like just like the circular, you know, like if you bit something and then like it was bad, and we got really, really scared because we're like, whatever is happening is now physically interacting with us and hurting us. Like whatever this is, it does not care, you know. And so, and she wasn't religious, so I was like, okay, we're going to say, like, you have to force it to say goodbye. Like, you cannot just leave the Ouija board alone. Like, you have to tell it to say goodbye because that closes the portal, that cuts it off. But we felt like it was already in here anyways, so we forced it to say goodbye. We like tore everything up and we put it in like a little corner because we were going to burn it later. And we ran upstairs and we were freaking out because we were like, this is really bad. Like, it's actually like hurting us. We don't know what's going on. And obviously this is the last time I played Ouija board, but I was,
I wonder why.
but like, I just had like this really like weird feeling to be like, okay, both of you need to get on your knees and start praying. And like, once you're done praying, then you need to start singing. And so I looked at my friend, I was like, okay, I know you're not religious, but will you come on your knees with me and can I pray for both of us? And she was like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And so I started praying. We could like hear these noises and like just bad feelings, like bad, dark, like heavy feelings. And I prayed for a really long time. I was like trying to hold back tears in front of my friend, and then she had come to church with me a few times, and so she knew like the song I Am a Child of God, and she knew like the Heavenly Father, are you really there? Like that song and everything. And so I was like, okay, we're gonna sing those two just over and over again. And she was like, okay. And we started singing it, and the more we sang it, the more like lighter it felt, like almost like we could breathe again. I like how this is supposed to be a scary story, but I just can't because I'm laughing too hard. Hurry! Oh, so close. Just do it quick. Just like, anyway, it was just like, it was a really scary experience that also kind of like strengthened my faith as well.
I'm just taking a break.
because as we like prayed and sang and everything, like it actually really did help, and like we could just tell that God was watching us, sort of, even though we were being stupid children and making dumb choices. Afterwards, we did burn the Ouija board and just like throw it away.
It didn't come back to haunt you?
No.
Like in the movies?
No, because we had Jeebus. We had a Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ, and it was amazing, and I never did it again, and it was really scary, but yeah, that moment was just like, these things are real, this is bad, like they can actually hurt us if we let them, and if we give them power to. Like because we have physical bodies and they don't, we always have more power over them. Which I always thought was cool. But now that I'm older and
unless you're being dumb. Like they were. I was like,
I just fell because the seat came up with me, and then I tried to move, and it was like on my back, and I was like,
I just like the sound that you made.
Oh, it's just like that's something. Anytime anything happens, I will never scream like a girl. I'm always like, ah, or something like that. Like I never scream like a woman.
Just go and
people are like, there's a man in danger. I'm like, that's me.
I remember Taylor told me.
Oh my gosh, she's having a stroke. Help her, she's having a stroke. That's a seizure. That's not a stroke. That's different. I remember Taylor told me. She's rapping.
It's like that vine of the little kid, and I.
Do you ever have a dream when you want it so much you could do anything?
That was me right now. So Taylor told me this really scary story. She is from, where are you from? Georgia?
Yes. Sorry, I had to burp. I didn't want to open my mouth.
TMI. Oh.
And now.
And it was what? There's a lot of reservations there. Is that correct?
When you go on a mission, for guys it's 2 years. For girls it's 18 months, which is a year and a half. And I served in Japan. That's why I know how to do all this stuff. And so I was in Japan for almost 2 years, for 18 months. Where did you serve?
We're telling a scary story.
Anyway, sorry. My ADD is really great right now. So my trainer, when you first get into the field, you have a trainer for usually 2 transfers, which is a transfer is about 3 months. Right? About 3 months. And so my first trainer, Homestead, my sister Homestead, She was really fun and awesome, and she was like my only white companion, so that was a good thing. But she told me this story. Well, she got an email from one of her friends who was serving a mission in Guatemala, and I hope she doesn't mind if I say this, but I'm not gonna give any names or anything besides her last name. But her friend had told her a story, or had started out the email to her and said, okay, I don't believe in ghosts, but, and then like skipped and made a paragraph, and she was like, so apparently their apartment was like super, super like extremely haunted, like scary haunted, and like they would come home and like the doors would be unlocked, or all the lights would be on, or like cabinets would be open, and like all these things. And you know, it's like, okay, well, they lived in kind of like a sketch part. Oh, she also had another scary story that she told, but it was like more real. It wasn't paranormal, it was like people. But they would like, what did that happen that one? Oh, they would like wake up, they would, how did this start? How did someone find, oh, I remember. So they would go to bed every night, and they would start hearing things, or actually it was just the companion that started hearing things. I guess she didn't know that her companion also was hearing the stuff, because she thought she was asleep. She wasn't making any noise or saying anything. So we're just gonna call my trainer's friend Anna. I don't know her name. So Anna would hear things at night, and she would be laying in bed, and like it would happen every single night, and they would start losing sleep over it. And eventually the other companion would be like, oh, so the night before she found out that her companion knew what was happening. Sorry, this is jumbled. I'm trying to remember how the story was told. But the night before Anna found out that her companion knew what was going on, she was lying in bed, and the door was closed, and she heard footsteps coming up to her room door, which, by the way, they will lock their front doors and everything because they lived in kind of a sketchy area in Guatemala. And what happened was she heard footsteps come up to their room door, and then someone start like jiggling the knob, like trying to get in, but they wouldn't open the door even though the door wasn't locked. And then it just started like jiggling like super violently and like shaking back and forth, and like all this thing, like it was like, I guess it was really bad. I wasn't there, so I don't know. But the next morning, she had not gotten any sleep, and it happened the next night as well, except it was even more violent, and she felt really scared, like it was really bad, and she kept praying and just being like, Heavenly Father, like please make it stop, please help me. And she said that she doesn't know if it was from like fear or exhaustion, but she just woke up. Like she doesn't remember going to sleep, but she just woke up. And then the next day, that day that she had woken up, you know, they were doing the normal scheduling and everything, and the companion was like, hey hermana, like I'm just wondering, did you hear someone trying to get to the apartment last night? And she was like, oh yeah, I did, but they were at like our room door, because she was close to the door, I guess. She said, no, they were at our room door. Like, I don't remember it being at the front door. And she was like, oh my gosh, like I've been hearing it like these past several nights, and I just didn't know if you were awake or not. And I was so scared. I thought I was experiencing this I thought I was experiencing this alone. And so like they both thought that neither of them knew, and then they finally figured it out. But then like, I guess once they both knew about it, they both became more aware, and like every night it just started getting worse and worse, and they'd hear like walking and pounding, and it was just a really bad and dark feeling. And like these things would come back, like the door would be unlocked, the things would be open, like they come back from like proselyting all the time, and like everything would just be not in the way they left it. And eventually like their elders started noticing that they had like really dark circles under their eyes. They looked like really gaunt and like just like really stressed out, like they weren't sleeping, they weren't eating a lot, like just not a lot of things, like not good things. So the elders were like, are you two okay? Like, is everything all right? Like, what's going on? And I don't know, I think they didn't tell them at first. I don't think they told them at first. And then
that's dumb.
Yeah, and then it kept happening, and they kept bringing it up, and then eventually they did tell them and said there was things happening in their house, and they need like a house blessing. They need to bless the house, so it's like, you know, they can drive whatever it is out. Well, they get a ride home from a member, and Anna and her companion and a few of the elders are like walking up the stairway to their apartment complex, and they walked up to the front door and opened the front door. And I guess, I don't really know the layout. She didn't explain the layout in the email, but I guess the layout is like, from the front door you can look through and see the back door. And when she opened the front door, like Anna was in front and everyone else was behind her, kind of like a ways, and Anna opened the door and everyone behind her was going, Hermana, the door! Hermana, the door! The door! And they see the door like opening on the back, like the back door like open up really quick, and it was just like dark because it was nighttime. And they're like, the door! The door! They don't know, and she doesn't know what's going on, so her and her companion are like next to each other, and they look forward and they see the door open, and they're like in the doorway sort of, and they see it slam like super hard, and then all the lights go out. And Anna's companion screams and leaves her like in the apartment and shuts the door, because I don't know if she just thought that her companion was behind her or not, but I don't know what Anna was thinking in this, but Anna just like thought, okay, I just need to turn the lights on. And the light switch was actually, I guess you go into the house and you go into this room to the left. And so she had to go open the door.
I'm already scared.
Yeah, she had to go open the door to get the lights on. And she went to reach for the doorknob, and then almost as if someone was standing behind her, she heard, do not open that door. Just in like a commanding, not a dangerous, not a scary voice, just like a do not open that door. And she froze. And it said, and the voice said to her, no matter what you do not open that door. Don't go forward. Stay, like, don't do anything. Don't open the door. Do not go in that room. And she just all of a sudden like wanted to throw up and got this sickening, heavy feeling that if she opened the door, something really, really bad would happen to her. Like something evil would happen to her. And like, she just, like, she couldn't do anything. She didn't even have enough strength to turn around and go somewhere. She just like froze. And the voice just kept saying, don't open the door, don't open the door, just stay there, don't open the door. And she just felt that there was something in the room, in the other room, just something was in that room. And I guess everyone outside was feeling it too, because like, she said that she felt like she was there for a long time, but I guess they eventually came in and like got her, and the elders were in there, you know, and they pulled her away from the door and everything. And I guess they didn't have the feeling of, they opened the door and turned on the lights and nothing was there. You know, it was just fine, just normal. But like they had all felt it too, and Anna was like breaking down and crying and being like, I guess like she just thought she was gonna die. But that's how scary it was. It was like a primal fear instinct, just being like, don't go in. And they told their mission president, and the mission president was like, okay, bless the house. The elders were there and a few members, and they tried to bless the house, but they just like felt like it wasn't working, like something wasn't working right. They were doing all the steps right. Everything was going right, but just like, it just wasn't getting blessed. Like something wasn't right. And so they're like, okay, well, let's bless the two girls. Like we'll bless Anna and her companion for like comfort and strength to make sure that they can get through this, that like they'll eventually be moved to a different place and everything. And they sat them in the living room in their apartment and, you know, put the oil on their head and started blessing them and everything. And while it was happening, everyone said that it felt like there was like a small earthquake like in the apartment, and then things started coming off the shelves, and like they heard like banging on the walls and stuff, and like all this stuff started happening, and it happened with both girls while the blessing was happening. And so it's like, I was really scary hearing that, but like I was also thinking like, oh my gosh, if you don't believe in the power of Christ after that even these things are scared of a blessing, like, oh, it was great. But so eventually the mission president came to like see what was going on, and he like took like 2 steps in the house and was like, you have an hour to get all of your possessions and into the car, and we're leaving. You're not coming back here. Like he didn't even have to say anything. He just walked in and was like, you have 1 hour to pack everything you own, and then we're going.
Who, the
mission president? He's like, he walked in and he said, you have 1 hour, do it, whatever's left, you're leaving it. That's it, you're not coming back in this house. And so, like, cause he just felt something. He stayed in there the whole time. He had the elders with him, you know, and they were packing, just like freaking out. And eventually they put all this stuff in there, in his car, and they got into like a temporary apartment before they could find a different apartment. But that was the story. They like, whatever was in there was like, even the blessing, like the house blessing wasn't working, like whatever it was. And so like, while you're on the mission, I feel like you are doing such good things, and like really helping like Heavenly Father's plan for us, and just teaching about Jesus Christ and his gospel and all these good things that Satan does not want you to do. And so Satan will like himself will attack you if he feels that you are doing good. So I honestly think that it was like something close to that, but I'm like, holy crap. I never had an experience personally like that on my mission, which I'm grateful for because there's a lot of scary stuff that happens in Japan.
Oh man, that was real scary. Okay, we're gonna tell our last scary story. Because obviously we suck at this.
Wait, where's your phone? No, because I'm gonna
We're looking at it.
Hold on. Oh, that's right.
Sorry.
It's the food.
It's the food.
Brain dead.
Food coma starting now.
Starting now. Okay, so if you guys have a Reddit and you like scary stuff, I highly suggest you go and subscribe to r/nosleep, which is just a bunch of people like posting stories that they've either made or they're real stories and they've experienced it and they're just posting it there for kicks and giggles.
Is this one like real or like someone made it up?
It's real, I think. Pretty sure. But it's not this, but the person who posted it, apparently it's not their experience. I don't know. I like thinking that it's real just to freak you out. So we're gonna say it's real. Because this sounds like something that would actually happen though.
No, it's different when it's fake and then when it's real.
So this one is called, it's real. This one is called A Campfire Story. And it's posted by Vital Duel. And it's awesome. And he actually just messaged me back, or he or she, they messaged me back and they're like, yeah, you can use this story. It's not even my story. I was like, sweet, okay. So, oh gosh, just scared me. So, it starts out. For a number of years, I was a camp counselor at an overnight camp in Muskokas.
I'm never going to camp ever again.
I loved it more than any job I've ever had, despite the non-existent pay, annoying campers, long days and short nights, crappy food, etc. For one, I got to tell as many scary stories as I could sputter out. There was nothing better than hanging around a dying campfire with a bunch of junior high kids who were demanding the scariest, most blood-curdling tales I knew. And I told them all. The babysitter and the eerie clown statue, the driver and the creepy gas attendant, the woman and her licking dog. I saved my best stories for overnight trips we made in Algonquin Park. For non-Canadians, it's a massive park in the middle of Ontario, spanning nearly 8,000 square kilometers. When days would be spent canoeing on pristine lakes and nights would be spent around the fire, singing and making s'mores and being as rowdy as the only people within miles could be. Once the kids had quieted down, I told them stories of a stalker in the woods with a face so horrifying it paralyzed all of its victims in fear. Or the group of campers who decided to spend the night across the lake from an abandoned insane asylum. Or was it? On this particular night, I'd finished up the tales, once again insisting that they were entirely true, and sent the campers to their tents. It had been an exhausting day, and none of the 6 kids were in any mood to stay up later. My fellow counselor had also decided to pack it in, leaving just me on a fallen log next to the dying fire. I need a drink, bro. I'm gonna choke on something. I'm like, oh, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Maybe it's the ghost that's choking.
I can't eat anymore, like, I'm seriously gonna throw up. We're gonna have food for like a whole week.
Always stay hydrated.
I'm gonna take a nap after this.
I'm gonna take a nap. Okay. Okay, back to scary. So she's sitting next to the dying fire. I took a deep breath of the cool, fresh, pine-scented air and looked out at the lake. The partial moon reflected off the glassy water, and on the other side, I could see towering cliffs going up several hundred feet. I considered whether we could canoe over, climb up a few dozen feet, and do some cliff jumping tomorrow. I grinned. The camp director would have my head if we did that. If he found out, that is. Movement at the very top of the cliffs caught my eye. There was a small light bobbing along the peak. At first, I thought it was a star, but it was larger and gave off a golden glow. It slowly moved back and forth in an arc. As I sat up and watched it, another appeared next to it, bobbing along the top of the cliff. Then another, and a few more. My stomach dropped into my feet. I grabbed my bag and pulled my digital camera out, and then I focused it on the little glowing orbs and used the zoom function. I counted them, and then I counted again. Oh crap. In a flash, I was up and running to the tents. Hey guys, wake up, we gotta go. There was movement in the tents, and then I had 7 confused heads looking out at me. My co-counselor wore a mixture of concern and pure anger. I hate to do this, I continued, but the clouds are looking really threatening. There's a big rainstorm coming in. If we get caught in it, it's going to ruin our trip. Seriously? Laura, my co-counselor, asked. We're in the middle of the woods. Where would we go? I pulled a map and a flashlight out of my bag. There's a ranger station a few kilometers south of us. I traced the path with my finger. Thank God. We can make it there in a few hours. The campers groaned. Can't we just go in the morning? No! I shouted, my voice echoing across the lake. I lowered it. Come on, let's get packed up and go. I'll tell you a story along the way. I smiled, though I could feel my lips quivering. It's my best one yet. That seemed to get them going, and within 10 minutes the tents were packed up and we'd begun our trek into the deep woods with small flashlights at our only guide. When I was confident we were moving at a steady pace, I allowed myself to relax and began to tell my favorite campfire story. Centuries before the European settlers made their way into the country, it was inhabited by the First Nations people. They had made the trip from across Western Canada following the migration patterns of large animals such as buffalo and bison. Eventually, they reached Ontario, at which point they split off into smaller groups of travelers, each searching for a section of land to call their own. Legend has it that one group, consisting of about 12 men, women, and children, had ventured through this very area in search of a place to call their home. Though it wasn't even the end of October, the weather had made a turn for the worse, and as the group journeyed around the lake, a fierce blizzard hit. Within an hour, the group found themselves in blinding snow and below zero temperatures. The clothes they had on them were made for the fall, not this sort of weather, and they weren't any Canada Goose jackets back around. And there weren't any Canada Goose jackets around back then, but they pressed on. They didn't have any other choice. Night was falling as they reached a cliff bluff, which towered over a cold, choppy lake. There was no stopping for this group. They'd die if they didn't make it past the cliffs. But with the darkness setting in and the snow falling even harder, visibility was almost non-existent. So one of the elders had an idea. Using the little kerosene they had left, he lit a lantern for each of the travelers and had them carry it in front of them, not so that they could see the cliffs, but so they could see who was in front of them, allowing them to follow each other across the narrow bluffs. With the strongest of men leading the way, the group began to cross the cliffs. The freezing, wet snow soaked every bone in their body. The harsh wind chilled any exposed skin and threatened to push them right off the rock. Their path was no more than a few feet wide and would have been slippery even to the best of hiking boots, let alone old-fashioned moccasins. Slowly, painstakingly slowly, they made their way up the cliffs, praying that whatever lay on the other side could shelter them from the intensifying storm. They were about halfway up, hundreds of feet above the lake, though it was well out of their vision. In fact, all they could see in this blinding storm was the lantern in front of them, acting as a beacon to guide their steps. If the light moved up, they moved up. If it went down, they moved down. Each of the travelers was almost in a trance, caring about nothing but the glowing orb a few feet away. For the leader, though, there was no such luxury. He moved forward blindingly, feeling along the cliff with his free arm, though his skin was so numb he could barely feel anything. As the path wound back again, he made a misstep and lost his footing. Just as a gust of wind blasted his back, he desperately grasped for the hold, but his frozen fingers couldn't get anything. With a terrified scream, he slipped off the cliffs and fell into the icy black lake. The rest of the party didn't see him fall, of course. All they saw was his glowing orb dropping away from the bluff and disappearing into the darkness. There was no time to mourn. They continued on, but the storm was worsening. After another minute, one of the children, his body unable to withstand the cold, dropped away, his lantern glowing until the choppy waters put it out. Another, having seen this, lost his balance and fell. This pattern went on until there were just 5 people left, fumbling along the darkness, following the light in front of them. As hard as they tried, the cliffs were unforgiving, and the remaining men fell down to 4, and then 3, and 2, and then there was just one left, who legend says cursed the earth as his legs slipped and he plunged hundreds of feet down, his lantern the last one to be extinguished. Of the 20 members who tried to overcome the cliffs, I finished, not one of them survived. They say that sometimes, when the conditions are right, you can see the orbs along the cliff, symbols of the lost travelers who will never find their homes. As the story ended, leaving the campers in an eerie silence, I saw lights up ahead. A wave of relief poured over me. We picked up the pace and found the ranger station bursting with activity, with half a dozen people running around, loading up trucks and shouting into radios. The wind was beginning to really pick up, and I heard thunder in the distance. "Hey, you kids!" A large burly man with a full beard and mustache ran up to us. "Get in the trucks, we don't have much time." Laura and I led the kids to one of the pickup trucks. "What's going on?" I asked the man. "Didn't you hear?" Another gust of wind. "Huge storm systems heading right for us. Already been tornadoes touched down. We're getting everyone out of here. Let's go." We climbed into the truck beds and I collapsed down feeling like I'd just been punched in the gut. The ranger climbed into the front and we took off down a makeshift road. My head was spinning. It wasn't possible. "How?" Laura slid next to me, keeping her voice low. "How did you know we had to get out of there?" I looked over her. My face felt empty of any blood. "I saw the lights." "What?" "No. No!" she gasped, then caught herself. "How many?" I took a deep breath. 8. She looked around at all the campers who were now lying against each other, asleep despite the bumpy road. "That's all of us. My God." I nodded and leaned against her. Laura had heard the traveler story before, and she knew that I'd left out a key bit of information. The lights were real, but they were never random. If they were shining, bobbing back and forth, swinging in a small arc, it was because they had a message, a warning. One light would shine for each person who was about to die.
Ah! Ow! Why did you do that?
It's like 5-starred me!
Bro, you scared me! That wasn't even a scary story until you screamed.
Your reaction, you just like scrunched up more and just like shook a lot. Dude, my arm.
My head hurts now.
That was great.
Oh my gosh, that was a good story.
No, I have a really scary one if you want a really scary one. But we can do it later. I'll tell you later.
I wanted the really scary story.
Well, I need to find it first. I found that one first. That's why I wanted to tell that one.
Well, on that note.
Look how red, look how freaking, what's wrong with it? It's not that. It's turning really red. It's like heating up.
Is it that red?
It's really red. Don't squeeze my fat.
Well, that's your fault for scaring me like that.
For being fat. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I get it.
You said it, not I.
Oh, you're so funny. Look, okay, anyway, we ate like maybe a 16th of our food. Needless to say, if we do a mukbang again, we're just going to make like meal for maybe 3 people. So it'll be me and you plus half of
This
each.
is meal for everyone in my apartment complex.
Yeah, you can just keep it. I'm just...
Did you just tell me to keep it? Where am I gonna put all of this?
And your roommate's stomachs.
They're not gonna eat all of that.
I don't have Tupperware to take it home.
Okay, they said they will. They confirmed that they will eat this food. On that note, thank you for bearing with us in our random series of events that just happened.
Our random not knowing what to talk about, so we decided to talk about scary stuff.
No, we were gonna talk about scary stuff. I don't have any scary stories.
You just spit on me.
I'm sorry, I'm human.
Don't run away from your spit!
So, again, I am your host, Allie. My friend Taylor, you will see her in other videos.
We'll link my channel down below.
Yes, subscribe. I can't say that word.
Subscribe.
Subscribe.
Like, comment, and subscribe down below. And please leave any questions if you have anything you want to say.
There you go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Well, and don't forget to go to subscribe to my channel as well, Just Peachy. I put out videos whenever I feel like it. There's no schedule. But it's a lot of art videos, drawing, and I'm planning to do a horror series as well, which is what I just, that's a sneak peek of what I just did. So if you liked my voice acting and the way I told the stories, please go over to my channel.
Stay tuned. Bye.